This is IT Visionaries, the leading podcast with CIOs, CTOs, and Fortune 1000 technology leaders. Thank you for joining us.
Any innovation that you do is about bringing together different types of people. How do you get all of these people together to create amazing innovations that are bigger than what they could do alone?
Technology requires vision, a strategic vision. The CIO needs to be a visionary, just as much as the product leader needs to be a visionary.
Everybody wants innovation. What they really want is they want predictable innovation. They want to innovate and know that it's going to be successful.
And that's all we have for today. I really appreciate you stopping by.
Please welcome to the stage Vice President Product Management at Salesforce, Nirankush Panchbhai.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here in Bangalore with you all. Welcome to the Platform Super Session keynote. Today, thank you. Today, we are going to talk about the Customer 360 platform and how Lightning empowers you to build digital transformative experiences. One second, I forgot my clicker. See, that shows you how excited I was to get on stage. Before I dive in, I want to take this time to express my deep gratitude. Thank you for being here today. Thank you to our customers, our partners, trailblazers. If you are a Lightning champion or Salesforce MVP, please stand up and get recognized. Thank you. Without you all, the platform would not exist. Today, I want to talk about a key challenge which many of you in the room are tasked to solve with: building transformative experiences. More than ever, we see this desire to build apps that make transformative experiences possible and differentiate businesses from their competition, and at the same time, deliver amazing, delightful experiences to their customers and employees. But a common problem which we notice is that these companies are taking an old analog product and simply recreating it in its digital form. They essentially translate it. And when you do that, you miss out on this amazing opportunity about thinking that scenario ground up and coming up with something which is truly transformative for both your customers and employees. But let's all agree, building these experiences has always been hard. Today, you can find a lot of tools and frameworks with which you can build a hard-coded proprietary app, which on the surface may look beautiful. But the problem is, your world is changing. The business is evolving. The customers are asking for more and more features. And to deliver on those promises, you need something which is modern and agile. And let me tell you, these hard-coded experiences and frameworks are not going to cut it. And that's why our customers love the Salesforce platform. We give you the tools which you prefer. We give you the tools which are easy to use for you, alongside frameworks and languages which you are already familiar with. We then empower you with extensions, open source, enhancements, which are for your own developer productivity, with the customer data as the key focal point. The end result is this peerless developer experience for anyone who builds. We all are builders in this room. Whether you prefer clicks or you prefer code, or if you're like me, you prefer the mix of both worlds. This idea of using the platform and using the mix of both worlds and getting awesome productivity is going to be a key focus of ours today. The Salesforce platform is the #1 platform to build end-to-end experiences which are fast and robust and can be built with clicks and code. With our awesome tools like Lightning App Builder, you can assemble a modern app, customize it, and make it instantly mobile. With our process automation tools, you can stringify a complex business scenario with data coming from various different systems. And all of this is backed by our enterprise-grade frameworks, which are based on modern JavaScript like ES6 and web components. If you are a developer in the room, one key piece of advice which I would like to give you is use what's native in the platform. Reuse what your friends and colleagues have already built. And then use your coding skills to enhance it, extend it, and build something which is truly innovative and transformative. This full stack which I'm talking about, all the tools, the best part is this is part of the Salesforce Customer 360 platform, the unified platform to deliver Salesforce and app dev. This is the same platform which we have built with years of learnings when we were scaling to millions of users. This is the same platform which we use internally when we are building new solutions. This is the same platform which we have opened it up to you so that now you can build unique solutions for the unique needs your users have. With clicks and code, you can build apps which are not only smart and intelligent, but are also powerful and easy to use. Now, these are the kind of experiences which are transformative. These are the kind of experiences which will stand the test of time. And today, we are going to show you how to build that. And we'll do that with the help of 3 stories. First, we'll talk about how you can build apps which are engaging and draws the user in with Lightning App Builder. Then we'll talk about how you can use our process automation tools to improve your org's productivity. And then we'll talk about extend these experiences further with LWC and awesome dev tools which are designed to boost your productivity. And to bring these stories to life, let me first invite our awesome demo team, Keith and Alba. They are going to show you some amazing new capabilities today, and I expect a lot of clappies. They are essentially the magic behind the show. All right, let's dive in. Is everyone excited? Woohoo! I am so excited to invite Josie Childs to talk about building engaging experiences.
Awesome. Thank you.
Woo!
All right. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here today to talk to you about something I'm really passionate about, how you can build apps, customize them, and launch them to all of your users, all with clicks in Lightning. So you might be like me, and you work here, but you have teams that are distributed around the world. And we know that working with distributed teams can be challenging, and especially when you're trying to build apps. Because when you're building apps for multiple teams, there are so many different types of requirements. In fact, 78% of IT leaders think that it is very difficult to build for multiple teams. And even once you've built that perfect app, and you've got all the right features, it's incredibly difficult to launch those to your users. 29%, only 29% of IT leaders feel that they have the right tools in place to make launching their app a successful part of their launch process. And so how do we start to solve these problems? Well, that's where the Salesforce platform comes in. Because with the Salesforce platform, you can build, customize, and launch apps quickly and easily. And at the heart of this is the Lightning App Builder. The Lightning App Builder is a world-class tool that allows you to build apps with clicks. This is a fantastic tool. I love the Lightning App Builder. I love to be able to build my own apps and to be able to customize pages. But we've also heard your feedback, and we know that the #1 thing that you've been asking for on the Idea Exchange is dependent page layouts. And so we have an answer for you today. And so I'm very excited to announce dynamic pages. Because with dynamic forms, you are going to be able to configure fields and sections and determine that visibility all with clicks. But it's not just that. we are also announcing dynamic actions because we want to bring this to everywhere that you have actions so we can make it really easy for your users to have the right information at the right time. And we are going to show you this today. Take some pictures. This is exciting. All right, but it's not just that. Then you have to roll those solutions out to all of your users. And with Lightning, we are making that easy too. Because with in-app guidance, with just clicks, you can give your users the information they need to adopt your apps seamlessly right within Salesforce. And the thing that's so special about this is you can build it all with clicks. And because it's built in Salesforce, you can do all of the reporting. So you can actually see, am I still on? OK. You can do all of the reporting so you can actually see how your users are adopting your features. And you can continue to track engagement by actually building surveys into your solutions so you can see how this is all coming together. I'm really excited to show you this today. And we're going to do it through the story of Deloitte. Deloitte is a global Salesforce partner. They work with customers all around the world. And they build custom apps to solve incredibly difficult business challenges. They also use Salesforce in their own business. And they do that through an app that they built called Jupyter. And so we are going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at how Deloitte is using Jupyter. So let's go ahead and go to the demo. Awesome. All right, so here we are on Deloitte's homepage, and we can see this is pretty engaging. This is where their users are spending a lot of their time. They've got all of their core KPIs here. And the great thing about this is this has been built almost exclusively with standard components out of the box right in the Lightning App Builder, built exclusively with clicks. So they've got their core KPIs, all kinds of information. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to click into opportunities. So here we are on our opportunity, and this should look pretty familiar. This is probably pretty similar to what you see or your sales users see every single day. And this is working pretty well, but it's a lot of fields, it's a lot of scrolling, there's a lot of information on this page. And if we wanted to improve this page today, we'd have to build some custom code, we'd probably have to build some custom components, and that's great, but I like to do things with clicks. So with the new dynamic forms, we can improve this page just with clicks. So our Deloitte users, they said, we only want to see the information that's reasonable for us to see at the particular stage that we're in. So you can see we've got our path here at the top. We're in our identified stage. And if you look over to our opportunity type, we'll see there's no other information there. OK, so keep your eyes there. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to move to the qualified stage. And when we mark this change, keep your eyes there. There it is, a brand new checkbox. And that checkbox was added. We didn't have to refresh anything. It automatically showed up as we moved to the qualified stage. So our Deloitte users, they're loving this. And in fact, they've asked us for a couple of other improvements. And because it's so easy, I thought we'd save them and we'd do them together right now. So all but Keith, we're going to make a couple more improvements here. Here we are in our Lightning App Builder, and this should look familiar. You've got your canvas in the middle. We have all of our components. We have our standard components. We have our custom components. We've got some components from the App Exchange. But we also have a brand new tab here, the Fields tab. And when we click into that, we can see all of our fields. And this is great because traditionally you would have had to go to setup, you might have had to go to a classic layout, but now you can see all of your fields right here, and we can go ahead and we can drag and drop one of those fields over. So we're going to drag over the proposal due date because I think that if there's a proposal required, we should be tracking when that proposal is due. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add some conditional visibility because we want to make sure that we only show the proposal due date if someone has a proposal due. So we're going to click Done, and that's it. We just did it. And that was really fast. So I think we have time for one more thing. Do you want to see one more thing? All right, let's do it. So I talked about dynamic actions. I think we should add an action, because our Deloitte users have also said that once they go ahead and they're in the proposal submitted stage, they want to be able to track their competitors, which makes sense, right? OK. So I think the best way to do this is with an action bar. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to drag over this action bar component. And then, luckily, we have already built a track competitor quick action, so we can just add that onto our action bar. We're going to do that. And then we're going to add that conditional visibility again, because we want to make sure that this is only showing up at the right time. So we're adding that conditional visibility when we're at the correct stage. We click Done. Click Save. That's it. We made 2 improvements that quickly. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to go back to our app, go back to our opportunity, and we're going to be back in our app. This is what our users would see when they're on that qualified stage. So we're right back in that qualified stage where we were before. We can see our proposal required checkbox. And when we go ahead and we tick off that box, there it is, proposal due date. We didn't have to do any additional work. Now we can track that proposal due date right there. But we also added that action. So let's check out that action. So if we go ahead and we click into proposal submitted, we mark that change, and there it is, create competitor, which is great because we really believe in context here at Salesforce. We want to make sure that our users are getting the information that they need in context when they need it. And this is going to help a lot with our adoption and also with our productivity. But we know that building things is great, but it only matters if people are actually using it. That's where we're going to go next. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back to our home page, and there's our in-app guidance. And the great thing about in-app guidance is that we were able to build this all in setup just with clicks. And we can scroll down this information, all of these bullet points. This is giving us all of the new information we need about the new features that we just built. So we've got that here on our home page, but if we go ahead and we go back to our opportunities, we have a floating prompt right here. And this prompt pops up to tell us to go to a survey. And what's great about this is if you can collect that information from your users where they are, you're going to get that feedback all in context. So no longer do we have to not only pull people out of the field to go into the classroom to learn about our new technology and our new innovations, but we can also get their feedback so we can continue to make improvements and make sure that the solutions that we've built are really working for our users. Wonderful. OK, Alba, Keith, thank you so much. That was a fantastic demo. I'm going to go back to the slides. OK, so here we are, and this is what we just saw. We were able to deliver 2 innovations to our users, all with clicks. We were able to use in-app guidance to make sure that our users actually knew how to use those new features and they could take advantage of it, all contextually driven right within the app. And then we were able to collect feedback from our users so we could make sure that our users were telling us what was working and letting us know what they needed next. Wonderful. But I'm having fun up here. I actually don't want to get off stage yet, so I want to show you one last thing, and I want to introduce the new Salesforce mobile app. Woo, right? This is exciting stuff. When you have users in the field, you want to make sure that your users are productive no matter where they are. And with the new Salesforce mobile app, the completely redesigned Salesforce mobile app, this is really going to increase the productivity of your users. And in fact, we've added Einstein to the mobile app. So now your users can work smarter with AI no matter where they are. And this is easy to customize. So you can customize it for your unique business, all with clicks. This is exciting stuff. I hope you roll this out to your teams because they are absolutely going to love it. OK, and with that, I would love to introduce my friend Aditya, who's going to come up and talk to us a little bit about process automation.
OK, high five. All right. Thank you, Josie. And hello, Trailhead DX. How are you guys today? Good? OK, so my name is Aditya. I work as a developer evangelist. And you know what is the common question that I get? It's not about LWC. It's not about any technical question. It's about what is it that I do in my role. And in my role, what I do is I go, I travel, I talk to developers, I talk to companies, and I help them understand the full extent of the Salesforce platform. And I help them understand how they can use it to transform their business. And what is the most impactful ways in which you can transform a business? It is through automation. Now, let's look at an example. Now, every one of us wants seamless experiences. But you know, a lot of business processes tend to be manual and inefficient. Let's take a very simple example that all of you can relate to. So I want to go to Trailhead DX. You all wanted to come to Trailhead DX. But what did you have to do? You had to come here. You had to have a good time. You had to learn a lot and go back. And most importantly, get your expenses reimbursed. But you and I know that it is not this simple. But what really happened behind the scenes was that you had multiple conversations with your manager to get approvals. You sent in a lot of gentle reminders. And finally, once you got your approvals, you went to a different system altogether to raise your travel requests. And once you get back, I know what you're going to do. You're going to collect all your receipts, you're going to stick them on a paper and manually submit it to your finance department. And do you guys think that is seamless? I don't. I don't think it is seamless. But we can definitely automate this flow. And as developers, what is your first instinct when I talk about automation? You'll be like, let's write code. But no, that's not a best practice. We are Salesforce, and we have a wonderful little tool called as Lightning Flow Builder. And what it helps you do, it helps you automate all of your manual workflows and create seamless experiences with just clicks. What does the Flow Builder contain? First and foremost, it has a point-and-click builder with a bunch of reusable components that you can just drag and drop onto a canvas, link them together, and create a workflow very seamlessly. Next one, you can also integrate workflows that spread across different systems, whether those systems are Salesforce or non-Salesforce. And finally, with flows, you can also create screens and wizards that your users can actually interact with. And this is powerful. Last year, if you remember, we launched our new Flow Builder, which is both functionally and visually a huge improvement over the Cloudflow Designer that we had. Remember the time when you launched the Cloudflow Designer and it loaded a Flash player and then it took ages? We moved all of that to the latest Flow Builder. And guess what? Since then, we have invested a lot in flows. Now, if you're like me, who doesn't like to build things from scratch always, who generally wants to copy-paste code from Google, or maybe use autocompletes, then you're going to love flow templates. Flow templates makes it easy for you to get started with pre-built flows instead of a blank canvas, and this is a huge time saver. And these templates can be downloaded directly from AppExchange. And if you want to contribute some flow templates back, we welcome that as well. Now, how many of you are actively building in Lightning Web Components? Show of hands. Wow, look at that. And as you've seen in the keynote, you have built 5 million Lightning Web Components since we launched, and that is great. And guess what? You can now use Lightning Web Components in flows as well. Yes, you can clap. You have built those components. It's your achievement. We've made it even interesting for you, so now you can use it in flows to deliver more custom visual experiences to your users. Now, I also spoke about flows can be used to integrate with other systems. And how you do that? That is with external services. We've made some enhancements to external services to make it easier for you. And using the external services wizard, what you can do is take any open API and convert it into an invocable action just with clicks. And these invocable actions can be embedded right inside your flow. And it's going to be seamless. Do you think that's all we did? No? We did more. And the next two features that I'm going to announce have given a very tough competition to Apex. So you as developers are going to question your choices now. So until now, what you have done is, in case you wanted to run some business logic in the future, that is, you wanted to run it on a particular date or time, you had to write scheduled Apex. But now, you can use it with scheduled flows as well. So you can take any auto-launched flows and schedule them to run at a particular point in time. And also, you can set a recurrence to it. So all of the things that you could do with scheduled Apex, you can do it right with flows. And what is the advantage with flows? Anyone? It's all clicks. It's all clicks. And now the next feature that I'm going to talk about is something that you have been asking a lot on Idea Exchange. Now, remember the interview questions that you guys would have faced. Does Apex run in system mode or user mode? What does a trigger run in, system mode or user mode? What does a workflow run in? So all of this is confusing. But now we are excited to launch a feature where you can select whether a flow runs in system mode or user mode. Isn't that awesome? No more confusions. And guess what? There is more. You can now even control a user's access to individual flows using profiles and permission sets. Until now, if you gave the run flows permission, a user could run all the flows, but now you have granular control. Isn't this great? I have some more slides which are going to excite you more. So I spoke briefly about integrations and how we can use it with clicks using external services. But that's not all that you can do with flows. You can create event-driven, loosely coupled flows using platform events. And with platform events, what is it that you can do in flows? You can subscribe to a platform event, and you can fire a platform event, both of them, again, using clicks. So I need not emphasize this point more. Whenever I'm talking about flows, it is all clicks. Now, that is great, but at Dreamforce and at the keynote yesterday, you would have heard about an awesome new feature that we are launching that is called Salesforce Evergreen. That is a way in which you can execute serverless functions that are built on languages like Node, Java, and Apex. The best part here is these evergreen serverless functions can also be called right from within your flows. Now, you might have a question that you have a lot of users, you have lots of data, and you have multiple integration touch points. And one of the most common issues that most enterprise orgs run into are API limits. You must be wondering, with all of these new integration options, what about my API limits? What if I hit them? Now, I have some good news for you, and you're the first ones that are going to hear this. We haven't launched this yet in Dreamforce or in the keynote yesterday. You're the first ones to receive this information. Starting in spring, we are increasing our platform API limits. And guess what? It's not going to be a hard limit anymore. So even if you go over the limits, we are not going to shut down your flows. You can clap. You can clap. OK, so with all of these new features, I think you have clicked enough pictures. So let me show you all of this in a demo. So I'm going to take an example here where we have an insurance company that is Redwoods Insurance. And we are going to see how they used flows to transform their manual process and create a dynamic experience for users. And also, they have integrated with external services. So let me get into their persona for a second. Imagine I'm one of the customers of Redwoods Insurance, and I received an email saying that they have revamped their process, that is their claim submission process, and now it's only going to take 5 minutes instead of the 1 week manual process that they had. I am excited. I hope you are as well. So Alba and Keith, bring up the demo. So here we are in their new claim submission process. And in the very first screen, what I see is a bunch of checkboxes and radio buttons to answer questions like, am I insured? And what is my current insurance status? What I also see on the top is a path that shows me where exactly I am in this multi-step process. These selections look good, but how did we build this? That was built using the radio buttons component. All the standard components have been dragged and dropped and built onto the screen. Now, in this next section, I'm looking at all of my details that are now shown in a beautiful little 2-column layout. And this is built using custom components. My details look good. Let's go to the next screen. Here is where it gets interesting. So here also, I have a bunch of checkboxes. I urge you to remember this screen because we are going to revisit it later. But here, I'm going to select a bunch of care services that I have used so that Redwoods can go back and check if my plan covers these services or not. Now, these services look good. Let's go to the next screen. This, again, built completely using clicks, has an image, and has a question, again, with some radio buttons. But notice what happens the moment I click yes. Boom. There you go. You have a new field that appears right underneath that question. And how do you think that happened? Josie already introduced you guys to the conditional visibility that we've put into the app builder, and the same capabilities are available in flows as well. Now, this doctor selection looks good, yes. You can keep clapping when I'm talking, so I need to know your excitement. So you can click next. And here we have another question that asks me if somebody else is authorized to talk to Redwoods on my behalf. I make that selection, and here I'm using a checkbox to control the visibility of a multi-select pick list. In the previous screen, it was a radio button. Here, it is a checkbox. Now, these selections look good. Let's go to the next screen. What do I see in the final screen? I see a nice little PDF with all of the details that I have just entered. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I have the ability to digitally e-sign this. And this is possible because of a third-party integration with DocuSign. And what is interesting about this, DocuSign did not send me an email. I did not have to go to my inbox to open this document. I did not even have to go to a new tab. All of it is available to me right within the flow. And this is incredibly powerful. So let's finish the process. And I see the success message. And I'm extremely happy because I've did it in less than 5 minutes. And claps, no? OK. So now you've seen the output. I'm interested. I'm sure you're interested as well to see how we built this. Now let's switch over to the flow builder and look at this flow. Isn't this simple? It only contains a bunch of screen elements and a bunch of assignment statements. Let's click into one of the screens which had the conditional visibility that is set in. If we scroll a bit down, we'll be able to see the radio button component that showed us the question whether I have been to a doctor in the past 6 months or not. And if I zoom into the right, I can see that there are 2 options available to me, that is yes and no. Now, these are the options that are going to control the visibility of another component. In this case, the lookup component. And how did I set the visibility? Again, go on to the right-hand side, scroll a bit, and then you'll see the set component visibility section. And this is the exact same experience that you guys have seen in the app builder. But notice here, instead of referring to a field, I'm referring to a screen element. And here I'm saying, if the radio button equals yes, then show this component. So the same experience, but even more powerful. This is great. But now remember the screen where I showed you a bunch of checkboxes where I selected care services? That was functional, but checkboxes are boring. I want to make it more visually appealing for the users, for which I already announced that I can use a Lightning Web Component to make it powerful. And I built one Lightning Web Component. Let's switch to VS Code and look at it. Here, I have a web component, and I see a bunch of HTML content. Basically, what this HTML content does is instead of checkboxes, I show nice little tiles and nice little images inside those tiles. And whatever selections that I make on the tiles are stored in a JavaScript property. Now, I have 2 questions. The first one, how do I expose this Lightning Web Component to the flow builder? The second question is, how do I expose the selected values to the flow builder? For that, let's switch to the meta file. In the meta file, on line number 5, you'll see the targets tag, which defines where the web component is available. In this case, I mentioned lightning_flow screen, which makes this component available to the flow builder. And that is all the one line that you need to write. And now the next thing, my second question was, how do I expose properties to the flow builder? So my JavaScript properties can be exposed using the target configurations. This is the same that you've been doing for the app builder. But what's new? You have the role attribute. The role attribute defines whether my property is going to be an output property or an input property in the flow. So this is all the code that it has taken. Now let's switch back to the flow builder and look at the screen in action. So here we have the screen, and there is our Lightning Web Component, Tim Visual Picker. Please don't ask me who is Tim. Even I don't know. So there we have Tim Visual Picker, and what do you see on the right-hand side? You see the output variables. Why is this field only showing up in the output section? Because I have specified the role as output only. In case I would have said input only, it would have shown up underneath the API name as an input field. So that is how easily you can configure a Lightning Web Component to work with flows. So now let's go back. Let's remove the assignment to the old screen, the boring-looking screen, and let's map it to the new screen here. Let's save the flow, let's activate it, and let's run. You see a bunch of warnings, but you can happily ignore them, just like all of us ignore the speed limit signs in India. And there we go. Once your flow is activated, we can run, refresh the screen, and quickly go to the third section. And there you go. This is the web component that we have built, which is a huge, huge visual improvement over the checkboxes that we had. And this is how easily you can automate your business processes. Now let's go back to the slides and quickly recap what we have seen. We have seen how Redwood's Insurance digitized their manual process with flows. We have seen how they delivered a dynamic experience by creating conditional visibility. We've also seen how they connected to external systems like DocuSign to show the documents with e-sign capabilities right within the flow. Now, I would like to invite Rene onto the stage, who's going to talk more about how you can extend the platform with code and what it means for all of you developers. Hi, Rene.
Thank you very much, Aditya, and hello, Bangalore. I'm super excited to talk to you about what it means for developers to extend the Customer 360 platform using code. Who's a developer here? Raise your hands. Yeah, that's what I thought. Amazing. You saw some amazing features in the previous presentations on how you can build on the platform using declarative tooling. But sometimes that is not enough. As the business demands grow, the complexity grows, and you may have to develop. And for that, we are providing to you, our developers, modern tools and modern tooling to build on the platform. One of the great enhancements that we launched nearly exactly a year ago is Lightning Web Components, our new UI framework for building on the platform. And at TradedX San Francisco, earlier this year, we open sourced the framework. You can now leverage the skills that you gained when building on the platform, now to build on any platform. And we didn't stop there, right? I am super excited that just a couple of weeks ago at Dreamforce, we now open sourced more than 50 of our base Lightning components. You can now build more customized user experiences. You can learn from our own code based on your business needs. And to build fast, we're giving to you the local development server. You can now build, run, and test your Lightning Web Components locally. There's no need to deploy your metadata to an org. And if your components are data-driven, which they usually are, you can also do that in local development, and you will see that in a demo. But local development is not everything. We are providing custom-made extensions for Visual Studio Code, giving you language support for Apex, Visualforce, Lightning Web Components, and Sockle. You want to run your Apex tests? You want to debug your Apex tests? You can do that in Visual Studio Code. And the Salesforce CLI, your Swiss Army knife, to work with any type of org, from scratch org to production, enables you to run simple commands locally or to fully automate your continuous integration and deployment pipelines. Now, this is not everything. We have some great new tools coming up. Source tracking for sandboxes. The same technology that is available in scratch orgs is now coming to your sandbox environments. And you will see that live, right? New Lightning Sandbox types that get created in minutes, not hours or even days. Natala talked about it yesterday. And last but not least, we're going to help you to make your data in your sandboxes even more secure using Data Mask. I have less slides than anyone else, which is great. So we will show this to you in a demo now. And we will change the UI of an existing app, use source tracking in sandboxes in combination with modern tooling, and deploy that to our new Lightning Full Sandbox. So please give it away for Alba and Keith in our demo. So we're going to start here in our e-bike sample application. And you see on the left side on the screen our product card component. It shows details about an electric bike. But it doesn't look really user-friendly, I would say. And our task is now to extend this, to change the user interface. And for that, we're going to use local development. When Alba is zooming in on the browser bar, you will see that this is running on localhost, really running on her local Mac over at the desk, enabling her to build the Lightning Web Component locally. In the middle of the screen, you see all the Lightning Web Components in her current Salesforce DX package directory. And if you have a multi-package project, no problem, you can just select it in there. Now, our task is to enhance the product card component. So, Albert, please click in that. And what you see here is a Lightning Web Component rendered locally, but it's not the Lightning Web Component that we saw in that org, right? It looks different. Why? Because our Lightning Web Component needs data. How would you do that nowadays? You would hard code an ID and see how it looks like. And no, we're going to change that. Alba, can you please click on Component Properties? This is an upcoming feature of local development where we will give you an app builder-like experience for local development. All public properties that you define within your Lightning Web Component are exposed in a declarative way. No need to hard code anything for testing. So Alba, please paste in our record ID from our sandbox. It will take a couple of seconds, and boom, this is how you see the data of your sandbox in local development. Now our task is even more claps. The last rows next time, please. So now we want to change this. We want to change first the UI. So let's go to VS Code. So we are now here in the JavaScript file of our Lightning Web Component. And on line 26, we have the AddWire decorator. This is one of our enhanced JavaScript capabilities that we give to you, and it gives you access to the enhanced caching mechanisms of Lightning Data Service. The first parameter, getRecord, this is one of many JavaScript properties that we give to you for accessing the UI API. What does it mean? It means that for any single record transaction, create, read, update, and delete, you only have to write JavaScript, no Apex. Now, we want to change the UI, so let's switch over to the HTML file, please. And this is just standard HTML, just as you will know, nothing Salesforce specific. Alba is going to hover over the Lightning card tag in row 2, and what you will see here is inline help, right? The language features that we provide with the Visual Studio Code extensions. You don't have to go to a documentation site to now build with the tools, right? You just can do that in your IDE. Now we want to change the UI, so let's paste in our image tag, because we want to have a sample image for our users. We're going to save that, and we're going to go back to the local development server. It will take a couple of seconds again, and it will refresh. There we go. Getting the data, and here we have our sample image, right? Because we work in a sandbox. Now, this is not everything. I think we should change the UI a bit more. We should give our users a visual indication on how many bikes are in stock. So, Alba, can you please go back to Visual Studio Code? And she's going to type in a couple of characters. And what you will see here is IntelliSense, another great feature of Visual Studio Code, a list of all the custom Lightning Web Components in our local Salesforce DX project. Now, while Alba is completing this, I want to just highlight one thing. We did not build our own slider component, right? We just took the open source code from the base Lightning slider component, modified it a bit to fit our needs, and that's it. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. So let's save it. Let's go back to the server. It will take a couple of seconds. I can't wait for this. And no better slider has ever been built, I can tell you. So we got our changes now for our Lightning Web Component, but I also want to do a declarative change because we work in the sandbox. So please, Alba, can you go to App Builder? And Alba is now going to enhance the Flexi page by adding a standard custom component. But what does it mean? It means that we will have a local change with our changed Lightning Web Component and a remote change in our sandbox with declarative way. And usually it's like, how can I get these things together? How do I know what got changed? So she saved it, that's great. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code. And because we are using source tracking in sandboxes now, Alba can just run force source status, the command that you know from scratch orgs, and she will get a list of the metadata that has changed locally and remote in our sandbox. You directly see what has changed. Now, we have a changed product card component. And sometimes when you work in sandboxes, you don't know if someone else has changed something, what has changed, right? You don't know. How can you inspect that? Well, you can do that. Alba, has already opened the File Explorer, and when she's going to right-click on our product card component, in the context menu, there's this feature, diff file against org. Alba, please execute that. It will take a couple of seconds. It's running the Salesforce CLI, and what you will get is a Git diff-like view, comparing the metadata locally in your project against the default org that you set. So all these changes are great. No, we're not overriding anything. I think the next step would be to get the flexi page down, right? So in the past, you would have maybe to build a package XML against your sandbox, or you would have to do something else. So we just make it simple. Force source tracking. We do a force source pull, and we only get the change metadata now down into our project. Take a couple of seconds. The good thing is it's in pilot, so we may have like 15 seconds for this now. What we'll do in the next step is, because we have our change metadata locally, and we're using Salesforce DX, we want to actually add it to source. Can you please add it to Git? And the next step would be, as good developers, we commit this, and we push this to our remote branch. We don't have a lot of time in the session, and usually I would just push this to a branch. We'd use a tool like Circle CI, where we just announced yesterday our new partnership for enhanced CI and CD. But we just make it simple. We use, again, the Salesforce CLI with the force source deploy command. And before we do that, Alba is going to select, it's a great feature, at the bottom of the status bar, the default org that you want to use, because she's just switching environments in her multi-environment. There we go. Switching back to the terminal. Terminal. There we go. It's a bit busy on this small solution. There we go. And then we run a force source deploy command to deploy this now to our full sandbox. This may again take a couple of seconds. There we go. If you don't tell the CLI what it should deploy, it doesn't know what it should do, right? Like my wife when she's telling me things. It's like in real life. OK, this will only take a couple of seconds. Let's go to the full sandbox. We see our old product card component and our old record page. Let's refresh it, Alba. Let's hope that everything has deployed now. No risk, no fun. And there we go. Change record page, a great bike, and the best slider ever. So what did we see? We see that we enhanced a data-driven Lightning Web Component using local development. We used source tracking against sandboxes, and we ultimately deployed with the Salesforce CLI to our new Lightning full sandbox. With that, I want to give it back to Kush. And I have a clicker for you.
Thank you, Rene. That's pretty amazing, right? Woohoo! I like the excitement. What you saw today is how to build engaging experiences with dynamic forms and dynamic actions, features you have been asking us for a very long time. You saw how Deloitte is using in-app guidance to deploy these features to their users across the world. You saw how you can use amazing tools like Lightning Flow Builder and external services to automate complex processes without even writing a single line of code. Now, how cool is that? And lastly, you saw how you can extend these experiences with LWC and modern tool chain, which is designed for your productivity. Like I said before, these are some truly amazing times to work on the Salesforce platform and be a builder. Before we wrap up, I want to talk to someone truly special. This person has been trailblazing all his life. And truly, like someone can make a Bollywood movie on his life. I'm so thrilled and honored to invite Sagar on the stage. Hey, Sagar, great honor. We had a great chat yesterday, and it's quite an emotional story. Would love to hear it from you.
So I started my journey. So I come from a very humble background from a city called Bikaner in Rajasthan, and where my father is a law consultant and mother a housemaker. When I was in college, I had my two of my sisters lined up for marriage, and we were not doing financially good at that time. And I really wanted to make some big impact into computer science. So I loaned a computer, I would say a laptop, and started attending a late night coding sessions in my local institute. There I got to know about Salesforce from one of my first mentor. And he started training me onto Salesforce, but he left in middle of those classes. And it was a 15 days of classes, and after that, I was standing in middle of nowhere. So finally, I got an email one day, like about 1 week after he left, and Salesforce was coming to Pune. So I never traveled out of my state, Rajasthan, and attended anything or went to a big city. But I decided to go to one of the workshop in Pune, and I took a train of 1,300 kilometers and got into that workshop somehow. And there I met Kavindra Patel. Kavinder over there inspired me to give back to the community, lead students, and gave me an opportunity to run a user group, local user group in India. I had few concerns about how to learn Salesforce. There is no help around there, how I can launch my career onto it. So Kavindra gave me the first book, and that book changed my life. That was one of the first book onto Salesforce platform, written by Jason Ollett. And then I came back. I started helping students, started helping local community through Stack Exchange, developer forums, and moving forward, I also wrote 2 books on Salesforce. Then I got job offer. I started working not in a small startup. Then I moved to Deloitte USI. Today at Deloitte USI, I'm helping customers to build great solutions on top of Salesforce. And as part of this, giving back to the community, I have trained 15 students so far onto Salesforce, which are working with different big firms around India. And the most heartening thing that I get to know about their parents is, they call me up and say, hey, Sagar, my daughter got a job, and they are earning more than what we are. And that gives me a power to give back to the community more.
That's pretty amazing. The kind of determination, grit, growth mindset, and passion you have is unparalleled. What's one key piece of advice you would like to give all these trailblazers today?
I would say, think big. Don't be in a boundary. And secondly, use most of the resources that you have, most out of the resources, whatever you have. Like in my days, in my college days, I had only workbooks. I had the platform book, the universal container book that we had. But now you have Trailhead. Make most out of it. It had bridged all the gaps. All the distances has been covered up by Trailhead. You can mentor yourself. Use it at next level. Last piece is, when you become successful, help others to grow. And that will help you to grow. Thanks.
Truly. That's some amazing advice. Like 2 things, use Trailhead and give back. Because when you give back, you feel really good and you empower others to move on and create a multiplier effect. And Sagar, when words don't do justice, we have something truly special. And we want to honor you with a golden hoodie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Salesforce.
Let's take a picture. Thank you, Sagar. Thank you, Josie. Back to slides, please. Roadmap slide. I'm so pumped to see the amount of innovation I see on this slide. We are going to keep giving you the power of customization, from global header support to navigation regions to dynamic forms, which you saw today. We are going to keep you engaged with giving you iPad browser support and globalization so that the experiences which you are creating can be consumed everywhere. We have a lot of developers in the room. Make some noise if you want me to invest in performance and developer tools. Woohoo! And we are exactly doing that. You would see features like server-side rendering, Lightning Web Runtime, which is going to keep boosting the performance for your apps. And these are some amazing times. Please join us more here at Trailhead DX. We have curated some awesome breakout sessions and demo booths where you can go and learn more about these concepts. Talk to the product experts, and most importantly, give them your feedback. That's why we are here. Later on, please use the trail mix which we had created so that you can learn more about Salesforce in your free time. Like Sagar said, Trailhead is an awesome learning resource, so have fun doing that. We are having a blast in Bangalore, so thank you again for coming here. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Bangalore.